Hey Knights, so this is chapter 7 to 10. I'm actually going to do 4 for this chapter, just kind of see how that goes. So this is 4 chapters. So chapter 7. There stood my 4 greatest childhood heroes. Leonardo, the leader, clad in the blue mask, wise and very dedicated and trained better than almost anyone at the sword art called Kantanas. Raphael, the rebel. He appropriately wore the red mask, and had a rough New Yorker accent, hot-headed but caring, and a master of the short blades known as sais. Donatello, tallest of his brothers, and thinner as well, a genius in his own right, building military-quality inventions since the age of 6. He fought with a bow staff and wore a dark purple mask. And my favorite, Michelangelo. Hilarious and fun-loving, a prankster, though a bit air-headed and naive, but don't let it fool you. There is no one more skilled at nunchaku or nunchucks. His mask was orange. At an instant, I knew I was in the Nickelodeon version universe. I guess with an endless supply of parallel worlds, this one was bound to exist. I must have unknowingly picked this one. Michelangelo stood there in silence. Eh? What? How did you know my name? The shortest turtle with the orange mask and freckled cheeks spoke. Oh, adorable Michelangelo. I can't believe this is really happening. I'm meeting my childhood heroes. I should be nervous or babbling or something, but I was surprisingly confident, almost cocky, and I had a feeling my last encounter with the goddess of travel had something to do with it. I know all your names, I said coolly as I sat up and realized my right wrist was chained up. Now, Donatello, if you could unchain me, please. I'm not here to kill you. Mikey and Donnie both looked at Leo, while Raph just crossed his arms. Leonardo contemplated for a second, then nodded at Donatello. Donnie continued cautiously moved to the side of the bed and handed me the key. I unchained myself and started to rub my wrist. You know, Donatello, you didn't have to make these so tight. I'm very attached to my hand. I didn't put those on you. Raph did. Donnie said to me, looking offended. Oh, Raphael did? Figures. This made the red-clad ninja turtle annoyed. Who and what are you, and exactly how do you know our names? He told me. I felt a second wave of confidence surge through me as I stood up. My 5'3" frame only about an inch taller than that of Michelangelo. I know all about you, more than you probably know about yourselves, even though none of you have ever met me. Then I smiled at Michelangelo. And no, Michelangelo, I can't read minds. He looked freaked. Then how'd you know I was going to say that? Donnie got that look he gets when a light bulb goes off inside his ever-busy mind. Wait, are you from the future? I smiled. Well, I guess you could say I'm from your futures and pasts. I've seen the things you've done and will do. In this reality and others. I don't know how I was acting all confident and all-knowing. I guess the ring had something to do with that. Do you understand the concept of parallel Earths? I asked, looking at Donatello. He nodded. I looked around to his brothers. They looked confused as most of the people I tried to describe Doctor Who to. I sighed. Imagine an uncountable amount of Earths all stacked next to each other, in the same place but on different planes of existence, where everything is almost the same as the original, but with something a little different. A little twist, a different version. The same, but different. Donnie nodded. Ralph and Leo had faces that clearly stated, oh, I get it. Mikey stood there looking more confused than before I started. I sighed. Classic Michelangelo would have understood. My name is Roxanne, and I am the Traveler. It was amazing how easily it was for me to explain this with such confidence, like I'd done it a million times before. I possess the ability to travel between the parallels. I have come from a version of Earth where your existence, as well as the existence of many others, is in the form of fiction. So you're saying that where you're from were stories? Leonardo asked, puzzled. I blushed. Well, not just stories. More like comic book and cartoon heroes. And then there was the 4 movies. Well, 5 if you count Turtles Forever, which I don't, but I trailed off as I saw they were having a hard time taking this in, even Donatello. Let's just say I'm your biggest female fan, and I've traveled the stars just to meet you, I said sarcastically. Chapter 8. All of a sudden, I felt weak and sat back down on the bed. I realized I haven't eaten all day, and I was starving. Plus, my head was very sore. The turtles remained silent. I reached up and lightly touched the top of my head. I examined your head before we brought you here. It's just swollen. No cut. You just have to keep an eye out for a concussion. Do you want some ice? Donnie said gently. No, thank you, Donatello. You didn't have to, but you did anyways, and I appreciate it. Donnie was always the most considerate of his brothers. Raph spoke up impatiently. How did you mutate? I was confused. Mutate? Then it hit me. Oh, you mean when I transformed into something like you? Well, apparently I have the ability to take on the characters of the most powerful force for good in the parallel that I'm visiting. Then I admitted, I'm new to this. This is my first trip, so I'm sort of learning as I go. Michelangelo looked excited. Can everyone on your planet do this? No, Mikey. As far as I know, it's just me. Well, I'm honored that you chose our world as your first trip, Leonardo said, taking on his leader voice. I smiled. Are you kidding? You guys are my heroes. Now hold still, because I'm going to hug you all. With that short warning, I shot off the bed and practically mauled Michelangelo with a hug. The little turtle almost toppled over with surprise. It was a strange sensation to hug a giant mutant turtle. My chest pressed against his hard chest plates, and my arms could barely reach around his shell. So I reached around his neck instead. When I pulled back, his freckled cheeks were bright pink. He closed his eyes. Aw, thanks, I guess. He was smiling. Next, I went for Donatello. He was speechless and probably embarrassed. My hug with Leo was very formal and a bit awkward. Then I got to Raph. He gave me that face, that don't fuck with me face. I smiled. Don't worry, Raph. I know you only do hugs in life or death situations. You're too cool for them. You're a badass plain and simple. He gave me a half grin. So, we're really famous in your world? Mikey asked excitedly, still blushing for my hug. Shell yeah, your 80s version made you larger than life. You have a fandom that has survived for almost 30 years. I've got more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shirts than I can count. Just then, my stomach let out a humongous growl, and I weakly sat back down on the bed. Raphael slapped Michelangelo on the back of the head and laughed. Bro, I think you just met your match. Dudes, I'm starving. Do you got any food around here? I asked. No, we usually order in. What are you in the mood for? Replied Leonardo. I broke out into a huge smile. Pizza, anyone? The look on the boys' faces told me I just made friends for life. Sorry. Little mini spaz up. Chapter 9. Michelangelo cautiously put my arm around his shoulder and helped me out of the small, neat room. I realized it must have been Donatello's. He was the neatest of his brothers. We walked through a small hall, past 3 other bedrooms, all part of the walls, and in the abandoned subway station they called the Lair. Yep, I was right. Total pigsty. I thought to myself as I looked at the messes. Yeah, well, they're teenage boys. What do you expect? We were all silent until we reached the living room, and Mikey set me down on a beat-up old orange couch. Donnie, stay with her. Mikey, go get some pizzas, and no sardines this time. I'm going to wake Master Splinter and explain this to him. And Raph, he hesitated. Do what is it you normally do. With the mention of pizza, Michelangelo grabbed his skateboard and raced for the exit. Leonardo headed off toward Splinter's room, a beautifully peaceful-looking room with beautiful Japanese paper walls. Raphael plopped down on the couch next to my feet, and Donatello sat in the large, equally beat-up chair that was next to my side on the couch. Great, I said sarcastically. Watchdogs. Raphael was about to say something when I cut him off. He doesn't trust me, and any money Raphael doesn't trust me in either. But don't worry, I understand. Some strangely mysterious and totally bodacious babe shows up, claiming she's from another version of Earth, and she knows everything about you all and even things you don't. Yeah, I wouldn't trust me either. Raph grinned. Yeah, I got a grin out of him. Bodacious, he chuckled. Stuck in the 70s much? You've said it twice already. Haha, no. It's just something Michelangelo used to say. For as long as I've known my brother, I've never heard him say that, ever, Donatello said suspiciously. I shook my head. Oh no, not this Michelangelo. Classic Mikey from another parallel. He was sort of a surfer dude. Why do you think he's better than all of you combined on the skateboard? He was born to surf. So you're telling me there are different versions of us on other parallel Earths, and you watched all of them on this amazing version of Earth of yours? Raph asked with just a hint of, do you expect me to believe this dumbass shit in his voice? I leaned back and crossed my arms, feeling the ripped orange leather of the armrest on my back. I shrugged. Pretty much. The paper door of Master Splinter's room slid open. The giant mutant rat ninja master that these turtles called father stepped out with Leonardo trailing right behind. Even though my body hurt, I stood up, pressed my hands together, and bowed to him. A traditional sign of respect would hopefully get me on his good side. Master Splinter, I am Roxanne the Traveler. It is an honor to meet you. Welcome, Traveler, he nodded. I weakly sat back down. Donnie explained how they found me, and I told him what I had told them earlier in Donatello's room. What is your mission on our world? The sensei asked. His voice Japanese, sounding very wise, but also kind. He was clad in traditional samurai robes. Them, I said, pointing around the turtles. They are my heroes and have saved my life, even though we've never met. So I came to meet them, to thank them. And how long do you plan to stay? He questioned. I'm not exactly sure, I replied slowly, and I can't go anywhere until my ring recharges, and the time always varies between trips. Just then, Mikey burst through the door, holding 2 boxes of pizza. I was so hungry I could smell it from here. He hopped off of his skateboard and stepped on the end of it. He caught it gracefully under his arm and set the food on the table. Were you seen? Leonardo questioned. Chillax, bro. I left the money on the curb and told him to slip it through the grate. He was 3 minutes late, though, so here's the change, he said casually as he handed Master Splinter a wad of dollar bills. Donatello helped me to a seat at the very scratched-up table. Now is the perfect time to say this. A wise man once said, forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza. That made the giant rat chuckle. Oh my god. Oh, that's from the movie. Oh, I love that. Sorry. That's such a good movie. This is one, but I have never heard before. Now tell me exactly which wise man said that. I smiled and shook my head and pointed to the turtle impatiently peeking into the pizza box. The orange-clad turtle stared at me like he just did something wrong. That one? His brothers laughed and all reached for the pizza. Master Splinter picked up his chopsticks and prepared to eat his sushi. No, Master Splinter half yelled. They quickly drew back their hands, and Michelangelo looked almost heartbroken. Where are your manners, my sons? Guests first. I don't mind, sir, but if you insist. I reached and grabbed the slice with the thickest amount of crust. Raphael gave me an evil look, and I sat back down in my seat. I'm taking it that's his favorite slice as well. I chuckled as I took a bite. Boom. My mind was blown. There was no words to describe how delicious it was. Pizza was so much better in this parallel. The cheese was perfectly gooey, and the crust had just the right amount of garlic. I can see why they were so obsessed with it. I actually moaned. When I opened my eyes, the turtle had the most awkward looks on their faces. Oh my god, the thoughts I can imagine that ran through their head at that moment. That's awesome. Sorry, I blushed. Your world's pizza is mind-blowing. With that, they attacked the pizza. By the time I finished my one piece, they had scarfed down the entirety of the boxes. I leaned back in my chair. The warm, delicious food in my stomach hit me and made me very drowsy. You okay? Michelangelo asked with genuine concern in his voice. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm sorry. I'm not such good company at the moment. I'm exhausted and sore. If I may be excused, I think I'll go sit back down on the couch now. I sort of half stumbled out of the chair, and Michelangelo, like lightning, was there to catch me. He helped me to the couch before spotting a final piece of pizza untouched by his brothers. I vaguely remember hearing someone say, "Can we trust her?" before I passed out exhausted, both physically and mentally. Chapter 10. I was back in the long white hallway, soft plush robe and all. There she was, seated like a gypsy princess atop a white table. Hello, your, Majesty? She smiled. There you are, child. I was wondering how long it would take you to find me. Why do you keep calling me that? I'm 16, you know, I said. Haha. Child, I am older than the sun. All mortals are children to me. Then her tone changed. Frankly, I'm disappointed in your progress so far. You've been watching me? I asked. Peeking would better describe it, and I'm surprised you haven't figured it out yet. What was she talking about? Figured out what yet? The room started to fade. Willpower, child. You can do more than you think. The word willpower echoed in my mind as the white room faded completely to the dark. I remember being slightly woken by the feeling of a blanket being placed on me. Then I faded back into a deep, dreamless sleep. I was woken by the sound of clanking metal. I opened my eyes, half expecting it to be the sound of tent poles being loaded onto the trailers. No, I was still underground in the turtle's lair, a warm but tattered red blanket covering me. I smiled happily and sat up. Again, I heard Master Splinter's voice resonate from the next room over. The training room, I assumed. The clanking sound resumed. I looked around. Michelangelo and Donatello were sitting at the table. Donnie was busy tipping away on his homemade junkyard special laptop, while Mikey was rapidly cramming some sort of food into his mouth with a spoon. Good morning, guys. I got up and stretched my arms over my head. Donnie looked up from the screen. Hey. Michelangelo just nodded, obviously not wanting to talk with his mouth full. I probably look like shit, I thought to myself while running a finger through my major bedhead. It would be pointless to ask for a brush, since my hosts are bald amphibians. Maybe Splinter might have one, but that would be awkward to ask. My stomach growled. I've always been a slave to my appetite. Do you have any human food? Anything but algae and worms? Mikey swallowed and looked embarrassed. You know about that? I just laughed and nodded and headed to the table. He held up a box of cereal. There's milk in the fridge and bowls in the cabinet. I walked to the fridge that was obviously built in the 70s. Donnie and his ability to fix anything. I grabbed a bowl, poured some Cocoa Puffs and milk, and walked to the table. I sat down and began eating in silence. Well, look who decided to wake up, Raphael spoke, emerging from the training room with Leonardo right behind. Good morning, boys. Have fun? I asked with my usual hint of sarcasm. Raph grinned and sat down. Wait, don't answer that. Allow me. You're going to say it's always fun pounding Leo's shell into the ground, I smirked. That's not what I was going to say, he paused. But wait. It was pretty close. That's really freaky. Leonardo looked offended. He did not pound my shell into the ground. I chuckled. Are you sure about that, fearless leader? Leo looked a bit creeped out. You sound just like him. Stop. He sat down, reached for the box of cereal, just as Raph snatched it out from in front of him. Mikey still shoveling food into his mouth. Donnie closed his laptop, probably to protect it from the possible fight over the box that was brewing between his blade-wielding brothers. So last night, when you said you knew everything about us, what was that? Was that just a figure of speech, or did you mean it? A mischievous grin spread across my face. Oh, I know everything. Leonardo gulped his cereal. Everything? Mm-hmm, I answered, munching on my cereal. Prove it, yelled Mikey from across the table. I shrugged. You asked for it. I pointed at Leonardo. Cute Karari, but I'm really not in the mood. I quickly turned to Donatello. Man, I hope she bought that. I smiled at Mikey. Oh man, I forgot to say, see you next fall. Oh well, next elevator shaft fight. Then I slowly turned around to face Raphael, who was sitting right next to me. A cockroach? Why did it have to be a cockroach? Then I did my best impersonation of Ralph's terrified girly scream. I laughed so hard at the looks on their stunned, silent faces. Then I regained myself and very villainously placed my hands on the table. In fact, I know you all so well that I can tell you guys which one of you carried me down here while I passed out. Impossible! You were out cold. Donnie contradicted me. The first logical choice would be Leonardo, being the most responsible and the leader. But no, he would have been too busy leading the way and making sure the team was not being followed. Leonardo nodded, agreeing. We all know Donnie couldn't have done it. He's just not strong enough. Donnie looked slightly offended. Sorry, man, just fact. I said apologetically, looking at the tall, thin, purple-clad turtle. I mean, I'm not exactly April O'Neil. I've got a lot of muscle tone, and obviously I'm not anorexic. I said, standing up and twirling to show my athletic but curvy build. I sat back down. Mikey could have done it, strenuously, but he could have, but I seriously doubt any of you would have trusted him to carry me up and down the manholes and tunnels without dropping me 20 feet straight onto my head. Michelangelo looked like he was contemplating being offended or not, but then he just shrugged, admitting I had a point. I swiveled back to face Raphael. It was you, I state triumphantly. The simple fact is you are the strongest of your brothers. You're the only one who would have done it with ease. I crossed my arms and sat back in my chair, quite pleased with myself. Okay, so that is the next 4 chapters, and I should be posting again soon. Alrighty. Peace out, Knights.